Local people, important issues. CBS 10 WILM's weekly focus on the Lower Cape Fear region. This is Byline Wilmington with your host, Don Ansell.
Well, the North Carolina Council of Churches is the first organization of its kind in the South to elect an openly gay person as its president. Stan Kimmer, a retired IBM executive who lives in Raleigh, was recently elected to lead that organization and joins us this morning as our guest. Stan, first of all, it's a pleasure to meet you, and we appreciate you coming in from Raleigh to take a few minutes to chat with us.
Well, I really appreciate the invite, and I'm really glad to be here with you.
Let's talk a little first about the North Carolina Council of Churches, what its mission is, and how all this came about.
Okay, well, the North Carolina Council of Churches just celebrated its 75th anniversary. It was founded by white and black clergy people who wanted to work together on racial justice issues and help with integration in the South. And it now comprises 18 major denominations and several independent churches. And there's basically two goals. One is to provide a space where churches can discuss and talk about issues in theology in a safe space. And then secondly, to work together on justice issues and to develop and to provide information to congregations and churches about important social justice issues and how our Christianity should impact what we do about them.
And I was reading a little about it online, and it's a pretty large organization. Tell our viewers, you got what, 6,000 churches?
Yes, because the 28 denominations comprise 6,000 churches. 1.5 million congregants are members of North Carolina Council of Churches.
Does it take stands on issues, the council?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and this is by consensus of the membership?
That's right. There is basically a governing board of 35 people, and it comprises at least one representative from all those 18 denominations. And we discuss major issues and take positions, and we usually look for broad consensus across all the members that we take positions on.
Would you consider it a liberal organization?
People,
I'm sure.
Yes.
An openly gay president. People are saying, well, it's got a liberal agenda.
Well, actually, when you look at some of the positions we take, people might classify them as typically liberal, but I'd like to look at it more as a biblical stand, in terms of what are the teachings of the Old Testament prophets, what are the teachings of Jesus, what does the Scripture teach about how we should take care of our neighbors, how we should treat others, and we look for a Christian perspective on the issues. And it just turns out that, oftentimes it turns out to be, considered liberal politically.
Now, how many denominations are represented?
18.
18. So most of the major denominations of churches and some independent churches as well?
Right. A lot of, the Episcopalians, the Roman Catholics, some of the traditionally black denominations like the AME and the AME Zion, the Methodists, Lutheran, the Quakers are all members.
Are all members. I know there's one that's missing that I noticed you didn't say, and that's the Baptist, North Carolina Baptist.
Right. The regular Baptists or the Northern Baptists are members, and some
Northern.
Right, and the independent.
What do you mean by Northern Baptists?
It's actually when the Southern Baptist Church broke off, the remaining Baptists, right? They call them like the Conference of Regular Baptists. There's several other.
So the Southern
Baptist
Baptists have resisted joining the organization.
Right. They are not members.
What does that say to you, if anything? Does it say anything to you that?
Well, I guess it kind of is.
But it had nothing to do with you being president.
Oh no, because that happened. Yeah,
long-standing.
Yeah, they might. Maybe they. Maybe they don't. Well, actually, Baptist churches also are very independent, and oftentimes they don't like to act as a denomination. So it might be hard for them to join something like the North Carolina Council of Churches. Hopefully, they'd be willing to have some discussions with us and look at some of our issues and agree with our stance on some of the issues.
Is that one of the things you'd like to accomplish?
Actually, I would like to be more open to other churches joining. We've had 2 new denominations join in the past year, and we should always look at some large independent churches and say, here's some of the issues that we care about, and would you like to engage with us? And then also a lot of our materials are available on the website, so even churches that are not members can access some of our Bible studies and literature materials about some of the key issues.
Your election made headlines all around the country. Did that surprise you?
It didn't. It seems like we're still a place in our culture where when an openly GLBT person gets elected...
Gay, lesbian, bisexual,
transgender,
transgendered.
yes.
GLBT.
Or a lot of people say LGBT. It's like half and half. You can say it that way too, LGBT. But whenever an out gay person, reaches some kind of position, it seems to make news. Like when we had the first, congressperson. When we have the first Supreme Court justice who's gay, that's going to make news. When we have the first gay governor, that's going to make news. For example, the election of the lesbian mayor of Houston. That probably wouldn't have made news if she was just a straight woman. But that being a mayor of a major city, that really made news.
Is that a good thing in your mind?
It's a good thing because it shows that we're visible and it shows that we're making inroads, into society and into positions. But the bad thing is that, it's something that people might care too much about. It'd be great in society if GLBT people were viewed, on an equal footing with everybody else, and if we could reach leadership positions, and that not be something that people really look at. They look at the person, their qualifications, what they bring to the table, and that the GLBT thing is no big deal.
How groundbreaking is it for an openly gay person to be elected to be the president of North Carolina Council of Churches?
I think it's pretty groundbreaking. It says that a lot of the major denominations, even though there might not be agreement on the GLBT issue within the churches, that they're willing to, if someone's qualified, to lead in this position, that they're willing to, elect me and see me as a person with skills and not use that as a disqualification factor. So I think that shows some great progress.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be back right after that with Stan Kimmer, President of North Carolina Council of Churches. Stay with us.